Not that hasn't been for what, a couple 100 years?
Yeah, I think we're past that in our relationship, so I think we're good. I hope so anyway. Jeez Louise. Yeah. It's so funny. I'm reading The Art of Power right now by John Meacham about Thomas Jefferson's life. It's an amazing biography, and I recommend it for anybody, anywhere they're from. It's just amazing how things have not changed an iota in 200 plus years in politics. If anything, it was worse then than it is now. So, but yeah. So I've officially started recording. So I think I've got all my improper comments out of the way and everything. So, all right. Without further ado, we'll get started. And so thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate it. I am recording this, and I will put it back up live and a link to it to our YouTube channel, so that anyone that signs up after this can use it as a reference point to get the 411 on the contest. And I'll put a link on it on the rules and regulations page as well for the contest. So thank you all for being a part of the 2020 AmpSurf Home Break Adaptive Pro-Am Championships. And this was something we wanted to do. We actually were going to try to launch it a month or so ago, and there's some other events going that we thought were going to end. So we wanted to try to let those kind of work through their process before we launched, but it just kept getting away. So we went ahead and launched, and it didn't matter anyway. They've all extended, so it was a moot point. So, but it's glad I am stoked to see the amount of participation already from folks, and we've got so far, not including Martin. He says he's signing up right now. We've got 35 athletes signed up from, I think, 8 to 9 different countries around the world. So that's a really amazing, to see that and to see folks wanting to get involved and do it. So I appreciate you guys all being those individuals that are coming out to be a part of this. I think our goal is to have this be as close to a real regular contest as possible, hence the jerseys and the timelines, which we'll get into here in just a second, as far as submittals and stuff like that, so we can make it as much as possible have the feel of a contest where we'd all be together, like the Hawaii Adaptive or Worlds or something like that. Doug, you got anything on that?
No, we can talk about the specifics just now.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with everybody so that we can, and it's just the page from the website. So hopefully everybody can see that now with a little bit of blockage on the side there from where I can see all you guys. Can everybody see that page right now? That's up. Just kind of give me a thumbs up or something. That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. I'm trying to make my thing smaller here on the side. Is there a blank spot on the one side, on the left-hand side? You got a right-hand side, I should say.
It looks full screen to me, Daniel.
Okay, good. All right, I'm just trying to move that out of the way as best I can. Okay, so yeah. So this is just, so on the AmpSurf.org, if you just go to Home Break Championships, is all the information. I'm assuming most of you guys all already know this since you're here. I don't know who is just coming off of the Facebook and stuff, but we've been really trying to get people to sign up early. We really need that. It makes a huge difference, especially for our folks overseas, like you, Martin. We want to make sure we get this stuff out in plenty of time to get it to you and to defray as much of the cost as possible. When we first started researching costs to ship, I'll use South Africa as an example. Our first run at look at it was going to be like $300 to send one jersey. So obviously that was not cost effective. And so the sooner we can get these out, the better. I know we're coming up quick and everything, but it is what it is. Please encourage your friends that you surf with that would be interested in doing something like this. Please encourage them to sign up and to sign up as early as possible. We will be getting, so some shipments have already gone out, and we've gone ahead and shipped some extra jerseys to those countries where we think we're going to get more competitors to sign up. And so we've got those going to some of our competitors that are already locally signed up in those countries, so that they can disperse those for us when those other folks sign up. So And if not, I guess they just get a couple extra jerseys to hang with. So again, this is open to any medically certified adaptive surfer. So I say that when we're talking about medical certification. So when you compete in competitions like the U.S. Adaptive Open, the Hawaii Championships, the World Parasurfing Championships, you have to be classified and medically certified to do those events. So we're using that same model. What we are not doing is we're not making anybody send in that information. We are, unless it's someone that we've never seen before, something like that, we might, just because if there's some question with the classification, then we have to pass it off to Mo to help us with it. The thought process on that is there's no need to dig into that for everybody. If someone comes in first, second, or third at the end of it, that's when we'll, if we don't already know, they've already been pre-screened and pre-qualified through ISA, then we'll ask for that documentation and stuff, so that we're not having to do, hopefully we're not having to do 200, we're only doing a few on that. So then it's max of 8 waves per series, and the 2 top count towards the final points awarded and the per series awards and everything. And the top 3 get cash and prizes for each division of the overall championship. So whereas, for instance, we'll say someone in PS1, they end up in second place for the overall championships over the three events. The series, they score enough points to be in second place. They would be one of the people that would receive cash and prizes depending on how many people signed up for that division. We'll get a little more in depth in that as we get down here further, and with the breakdown on the waves per series and everything. If you have questions while I'm jaw-jacking, please by all means interrupt me. I would appreciate it. So 30 divisions, 15 female, 15 male. The first 16 divisions are the male and female divisions as classified with the ISA Parasurfing. And thank you again, Mo, for your work on all that. Details of that are down in section 1.7. So when you submit your videos for your divisions, they will only be the divisions that are up there. They won't be separated. So male and female will submit their videos, like for instance, stand 1, will all be submitting them into that same stand 1 division on the website that they submit them to. And then the judges will divide those up and everything. The idea is we just didn't want to have this, it was already way too long with the 15, so to split it up even more would have just been a lot to wade through. So we made the decision to keep those together in the submittal process and the scoring process, but for the totals and stuff like that, it will be divided by the male and female divisions. Any questions on that? Anyone? Actually, I can't really see all of you anymore, so you'll have to yell at me if there is. So the divisions, first 8, again, are the ISA ones. Stand 1, which is upper limb deficiency as defined by ISA. Stand 2 is lower limb, below the knee. Stand 3 is above knee. Prone 1 is a prone surfer that doesn't require any assistance. Prone 2 is one with assistance. VI1 and VI2 are completely blind or visually or some degree of blindness. Mo, if I missed it, doing any of this wrong, please let me know. Kneel is someone that's surfing. They can have a variety of different conditions for that position, but the key to the kneeling division is they have to either be on their knee or on their butt. They cannot be in any other position. Like for myself, if I was in the kneeling, I couldn't be on my 1 foot. Okay, I have to be either on my butt or on my knees. Deaf, hard of hearing is, so now we're going into the ones that are not classified by the ISA, and if we have any issues with these ones, we're gonna basically, the committee will meet and we'll probably pull you into this, Mo, and say, hey, what do we think the best fit is for these other divisions from the ISA ones, and try to apply those rules and stuff and classifications as best as possible. Again, it's kind of, none of us, but there just isn't, the classification isn't out there like we'd hope, but, and maybe I can pull some stuff from the US Open on it, but we're going to do the best we can on that. So we wanted to be as inclusive with all of our adapted brothers and sisters as possible and have these other divisions. And so, I heard a lot of folks, got a lot of good-ish feedback after Worlds about who was included, who wasn't. And so this was our attempt to make sure we were able to have everybody and make it work. And so, for instance, we separated out of the Prone 2, we've separated out short stature and stuff, and we've made it crystal clear on divisions like the Neil division and stuff. At least I hope it's crystal clear. Okay, so moving right along, full contest rules. Any questions by anybody on any of that? Before I move on,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Dana.
So
Go ahead, Ma.
if someone doesn't, so you have very specific rules for each video, and someone submits a video and let's say their foot is flat on the deck in a kneeling division, would that video clip just not be used, or
yeah, that's
like what happens there?
For my opinion of that would be that's not a kneeling position competitor. That would be whatever. If they're able to put their foot underneath them like that, then I would say that they would be in the stand 1, 2, or 3 divisions, whichever one that would most properly apply to them. Because they're not. I mean, the rules I think are very clear with the classifications. It doesn't, to me, I don't see any wiggle room in that. It says quite clearly either on their buttocks or on their knees. And so to me, that wave would not count for that division, and that person should probably, either request a division change sooner than later, or surf in the manner for that division that they're in. What do you think?
So Dana, I think so as a committee, we will make a decision if that wave is out of category or not. And then we'll send that person an email just saying, would you like us to move it to the correct category, or would you like us to disqualify the wave? But it'll be a committee decision, and we'll give them the option.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I would like to think almost everybody knows that. I mean, if they've already been competing on this circuit, they should know what division they should be into, and they should be familiar with what the classifications are for their division. So it shouldn't. I just think as an organizer and as a competitor, you should know your division, where you belong. And I don't know how it's been handled at all the other contests and stuff, but yeah, I think that's a fair way to do it. I think we're on the right track with it. So.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on it, and as soon as a wave comes in, if a wave comes in and we think doesn't qualify, we'll notify them straight away.
Yeah. There was another question.
I was just going to say, so you're following like the classifications, Dina, like ISA, like what Mo has classified. Like, for example, Liv stand 1, she can use her paddle, just like her paddles, her prosthetics, just like she does in all the other competitions. Like, that's not an issue. Like, anybody can use things that they have been allowed to before. Does that make sense what I'm asking? Like, I guess my question is, like, what happens if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to use some type of device, but I've never used it with ISA or US Open or whatever? Or how does that?
I think
equipment?
that every competitor, and I think it's on the competitor to review their divisions that they're signing up for and what the classification rules are for those divisions. And if that has been allowed, if that has been allowed in the past, I don't think that should be assumed that that's going to be allowed in the future or at this event. I know that at different events, different things have been allowed, and there's been some discussion around that. So our goal is to follow those classifications for the divisions as strictly as possible. And so I think it is on the competitor to make sure that they're within whatever they're doing that they are within the bounds of that, what that classification says. And if there's a question on it, then they should submit that as soon as possible to us to take it to the committee to make a decision on. And
Okay.
I'm not trying to sound all general. I have not read. I've skimmed the stand 1 division classification, but I haven't dug into it, and so I don't know off the top of my head exactly what it says as far as using assistive devices and prosthetics and stuff like that. But whatever that says on that is what we're going to stick to. I think that's the only way to make it fair.
Sense. Yeah. Yeah. Like that's what I was thinking. People that have been approved before, you will accept that, and that's how you will move forward. And if they're questioning anything new,
again, I would not use what they've done at past contests as being allowed for this contest. So if it does not say for stand 1 that someone is allowed to use I'll use Liv as the example.
Yeah.
If there's something in there that says that she is not allowed to use those assistive devices, then I would say at this point in time, she is not allowed to use those assistive devices. I don't know. I'm just.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, for sure.
I would have to dig into it.
I think it's a very fine line. So, I mean, I think just if anyone's got a query, then just email Dana and myself, and we'll get back to them. Yeah. But I think someone like Liv, if she went out with her paddles, I don't see a problem with that. But if someone went out with a jet-propelled fin like they've come up with, then obviously there's an issue with that. So it's a fine line, but within reason. We want to get the best out of it. I think as long as it doesn't enhance the person's ability to surf the wave, that's the criteria. If it helps them getting out, maybe then that helps. But once they're on the wave, it must be their own skill.
Makes total sense. Yeah. And that's how it's written. That's how Mo has it written. Like, so she's good. Yeah. I just didn't know if somebody wanted to try something new. I'm not saying Liv isn't. I'm saying if somebody did, I'm not even saying in stand 1, I'm saying maybe somebody, I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah,
in any category.
In any category. I mean, I think it's on the athlete to know their division as thoroughly as possible. And if they've got to say, I want to use some kind of modification to my leg and stuff, that's on me to bring that to the contest organizers and say, hey, I am already classified with ISA in the Prone 2. I'm going to make this modification to my leg. Is that going to be acceptable?
Yeah, it's a lot of honor system as well, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've been in a lot of conversations about this because we're a developing sport and we don't know what equipment does give an unfair advantage or does not give an unfair advantage because skills also developing. So there's some obvious ones where we flat out said, nope, fins with, power fins or motorization of any form, that's obviously out. But sometimes with a prosthetic paddle or a shortening of a prosthetic leg, if it's their front leg, so they don't have to circumduct to bring around, is that an unfair advantage because they're faster to pop up? Like there's a lot of things that we're looking at, but with ISA, we decided let's not limit yet because we really don't know. What about board shape, board sizes, board strapping? Some of those things do give an unfair advantage, but at the same time, that's how that person can serve. And so that's why we just bring it to the classification when you come to any of these events. Let us take a picture of it and we're just kind of tracking it and just seeing what, especially because some people are just learning how to surf at that competitive level. So when maybe their skills get better, they might not need it, but then it shouldn't have been needed in the first place. So it's a tricky fine line. Yes, Doug, it's tricky too, because some people have figured out this is how I can surf. But we do have to monitor that it's not an unfair advantage. Dana, something to consider is when they're submitting their video, maybe a little clip of, you should notice and list their equipment, or something so they're calling it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I would rather
video too.
If they asked us or sent us a clip or something beforehand, so we could make a decision before they go out and spend that time videoing. So I would prefer they got approval first and then went and used it and And
Yeah,
If they have any equipment.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, and that's why the links are here on the site and everything else. Is as a competitor, you should be finding out ahead of time what division your best fit is, and like we've been working with Mo with a couple of guys to find that out when they've had those questions, and for anybody, any of the competitors, they should, if there's a question at all, if they're wondering, they should be submitting that to us to let us make that review. And I agree with Doug, as much as we can get that ahead of time, the better. But that being said, it's going to come up, in the contest. That stuff, it always does at contests, and so we'll handle it as best we can. But we want to try to avoid people submitting waves and divisions and stuff and having to tell you that wave's not going to cut it, because that may be the last day, of that submittal time and stuff like that. So that would be horrible to, so think you've got this great wave and then, sorry, your wave doesn't qualify, you're in the wrong division or something like that.
At the same time, we want people that are going to progress with the technology. I mean, like surfing, professional surfing, the guys are always looking for an advantage. And if it helps, that technology helps other people, I think there's a benefit to it, because that's what competition is all about. It's all about pushing each other and pushing the equipment.
Yeah.
So,
Our one thing about equipment is that if it's on the body, it should be as close to natural body length of an arm or a leg as possible. So that's just kind of like the general thing so if you maybe have an amputated arm and then you have this massive paddle to help you paddle faster, that would be an unfair advantage. So we try to think about, if you have another arm, it could be the sound length or your projected adult length arm, just projected natural length is what we try to stick to.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Martin,
I did that with mine, and there's a couple of reasons, like moving around, like even hopping around the beach and all that, having both arms the same helps. Also that, and having the actual area of the blade roughly the same as my hand, so that it tries and balances everything out, so that I'm getting the same drive on both sides.
And that would be a legitimate prosthetic device to use. It's just like no different than me using my same length prosthetic leg and stuff. So just don't bring that canoe oar that you were going to bring. Okay.
No, that when I start supping. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So any location is acceptable. So it's a home break contest. Now, that being said, you're not restricted to just surf at your local beach. You can, if your home break this month is you've got a chance to go to Indo and surf, by all means, go to Indo and get those waves. If you get a chance to go to Bristol, the wave pool, go to the wave pool, wherever you can catch your best waves. The judges are aware, and
I was going to ask that question, actually.
we're looking for how you ride that particular wave. So for instance, it's been pretty small lately at my home break, so the judges aren't looking so much at the wave you're riding, it's how you're riding the wave and controlling the wave and hitting those, the maneuvers you make and stuff like that. So for instance, I had this conversation the other day, it might be double overhead where you're at, but if you just come down the wave, make one turn and then fall off your board, that wave isn't going to count as well as the guy that's, like Jeff's in Florida, he's riding a 3-foot wave, but he's doing 6 maneuvers on it and finishing out the wave properly and showing, that he's got mastery of the wave. He's going to obviously score a lot better, even though he's on a much smaller wave. I think that should make sense to everybody. I just don't want people to think that, oh my gosh, where I'm at, the waves aren't as big as where, Kyle's at in Hawaii. I'm not going to score as well. That will not, the judges are going to factor that stuff in and look at more what the competitor's doing than what the wave is doing. Does that make sense?
I have a question on that topic, if I may.
Oh, please.
So let's say, for instance, the waves where I surf my local breaks usually are far paddles. The entries are really tricky. There's no infrastructure, so there's no lifeguards, no parking for my car, nothing. And that takes a real chunk out of my energy and time to actually get behind the wave break to surf the actual wave. But that's not going to be part of the video. So here's my concern. let's say someone who goes on a beach that's fairly accessible. It's got a nice ramp to the beach. There's one of those beach mats and a lot of people to help them get in the water. So once they're in the water, they're still fresh and they can surf well, and it's great. Now they make, let's say, 5 turns on a 10-second wave, which is pretty impressive. But when I submit my video, it would most probably be a 3-meter high wave, maybe 1 or 2 cuts, but the wave will run for 30 seconds long, and I had to swim half a kilometer in to get there through kelp and rocks. But that's going to be in the video. But that in itself isn't, for me as a person that's paralyzed from my chest, like I've got the rest of my body is dead weight. To get that sack of bones out there in itself is an achievement in my book, because it took me years to get there. But that's not going to be part of the scoring criteria at all. So is there a way that we can put emphasis on how people get into the water and actually get behind the break? Is that going to be part of the scoring criteria at all, or is it only going to be strictly what you do on the wave, irrespective of how you got there?
Yeah, I would say it's going to be, there's just nothing we can do as far as the access and stuff like that. We can only score the wave that's ridden. I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate with you, Judy, for a second here, so please don't take, that all being said, that particular day, I mean, because we're not going to see it on the video. So it would be possible for you to have 2 friends, I don't know, put you on a stand-up paddleboard, pull you out and set you up out there and then catch the wave. We would have no idea if you had to struggle through all the kelp and the rocks and everything else, or if you got towed into out there by a jet ski for that matter. So we can't, there's no way for us to regulate that and to, and compare it with what Martin's doing as far as his access to his wave. Like, for instance, if Martin goes to the wave pool in Bristol, obviously his entry is a heck of a lot easier than your entry or my entry on a natural break, but we can only score what's on the wave ridden. So, to keep it as fair as we can. I get what you're saying. And I wish there was some kind of way we could give like a handicap like they do in golf or something for, the issues that someone has to deal with to getting to a particular break. But
I'm jumping in for halfway. I'm not sure exactly if you already covered this topic. It was just, I'm not really concerned about that, but it is interesting because some of us, depending on your abilities, that is kind of, even if you don't watch them surf, just to see them get into the water, that is amazing. But I was just wondering if there's going to be like
I couldn't agree with you more on that. But I don't think we can factor that into the judging criteria, because you're going to be judged against other people in your same classification. So in theory, they're going to have those similar issues as far as their entry and stuff like that. Unless they're and that's why we're judging it more on the individual's wave ride, not the way they're riding or the actual where the break is and stuff like that.
Okay. Because we've already got a lot more variables as opposed to a traditional contest with the different waves and
all the divisions.
To throw in another variable will make judging impossible. So unfortunately, it's going to have to be.
That's what I was thinking.
From takeoff to kick out, and unfortunately, that's the only way to handle it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I wanted to know. So it's pretty much just what you do on the wave while the wave is running.
Yeah,
100%. Like a traditional contest, from the moment you take off on the wave to the moment you kick out, and obviously there's no drop-ins and things like that to worry about, so that's better.
Yeah. Are there going to be any?
Well, and that's the thing too, Dries, to look at. I mean, honestly, and I get it. I mean, I've paddled out in conditions where I'm exhausted by the time I get out there. That's one great thing about this. You're not limited by heat time. You've got
that's good.
2 weeks to submit your first 4 waves and 2 weeks to submit your second 4 waves for that.
And you can take 5 hours in the session to wait for that one wave.
If you're exhausted when you get out there, dude, hang out for an hour, rest up. Bring yourself a protein drink and a Gatorade. Or, I don't know. But hopefully that will help in that aspect.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you've got a ton of time, and that's the thing too. Like every day when I surf, my first 15 to 20 minutes of my session, I pretend I'm in a heat and I'm trying to, play in that game with my brain. Yeah, but then I get to relax and really.
While it's still fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is the beauty of this, is that I don't have that constraint at all for this contest. I can relax and enjoy it a little better. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that. Okay, yeah, wow, we've gotten so far. Number 2. So it must each clip must be filmed during that series month. So for September, it has to be during that time frame, and date stamped as proof. So most all of the cameras out there that you'd be using with your videographers and stuff like that have a way to built in to either put the date stamp on the actual video itself or have it contained in the metadata for the video. So just know that we've got to have that date stamped as well. You must be wearing your AmpSurf contest vest. Also, that's why we're sending all these out, trying to get them out. Now, that being said, we do understand that someone signs up on August 30th and they're in South Africa, we're going to have a tough time getting them a jersey in time. So we have preemptively shipped a few extras to countries where we think we're going to have those issues. So hopefully we can get ahead of that. So again, this is why we're trying to get everyone to sign up as early as possible. I would hate to have someone sign up on the 30th in South Africa. We've already used up the jerseys that are shipped, and they lose 5 days of that time frame for their contest heat. But we can't. All we can do is try to get people to understand and see why we're pushing people to sign up early. It's not because we're trying to meet some quota or anything like that. We just want to make sure we get you the stuff. If there is some big issue with that, they'll have to email Doug or I. We'll take it to the committee and make a decision, and maybe we figure something else out for them to do to make sure. We're just trying to ensure that, we're keeping this as legitimate and real as a contest as possible, and make sure. We just don't want someone submitting any waves where they surfed it, a year ago, and it was their best wave ever in their life. We want this to be a true contest of what they're doing today and stuff, and during these time frames and stuff like that, because it's not really, to me, that's not really a contest. If I submit, I've got great videos from, different times in my life, but I want people to submit what they've got, from these time periods and stuff like that.
We want it as current as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And in that time zone of it. And then
the quality of the video is not going to make any difference to the scoring. So if it's filmed off a cell phone, if it's filmed off a fancy camera, that won't impact the scoring. So don't worry about any fancy camera equipment.
Yeah. But on that note, we got to be able to see it. Don't submit something from Surfline that's so far away that, that could be, like Michelle submits it. She says it's Liv, but it could be Michelle on the wave, or something. We got to be able to tell who it is out there somehow.
That's a fair point.
So just
Otherwise,
hopefully
you can substitute the stuntman for yourself.
Yeah, I've got a couple stunt guys I could throw in the mix for me.
So Dana, can I clarify that you will not accept a video unless they have the jersey on? Like, say somebody goes out for a surf session and somebody grabs a camera and tapes them, but they don't have the video on, but it's your timestamp and everything, but you don't have the jersey on, that does not count?
That will not count. They
have to have the jersey on.
Have to have that jersey on.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Just had to clarify, even if it's in that timestamp.
Yeah. Well, I
have another question regarding the jerseys, though. On the another solution, if it doesn't arrive in time, will there be a possibility to maybe send the logos and everything and the placements of the vest to maybe a local vest manufacturer in the country where the vest can't be shipped, and let them print it on that side in the same color vest scheme? Because it's all about the color and the logos on the vest. As an alternative solution, if there's
something like yours is a good example. So for some reason, say yours doesn't get there. Yes, we can figure out some way to where we ship it to a local screen printer or something like that, and they can bust out a shirt in 24 hours or something. To it wouldn't have to be the exact placement and stuff. As long as it's got we can see that they're wearing an AmpSurf event jersey of some kind where luckily, this is our first one, And so, there's the chances of someone, like yourself having an AmpSurf jersey, laying around that you could film video from a year ago is pretty unlikely.
Not yet. We're getting there. Hopefully, in 10 years in the future, that will be the case.
Yeah. And just so everybody's aware, so the jerseys we're sending out, they're just AmpSurf jerseys. They don't have the home break logo on them and stuff. We've got shirts being made that'll be delivered on Monday, which we're going to ship out, that are actually the contest t-shirts and stuff. But the jerseys we're sending are just our standard AmpSurf jerseys. So, but if this is as successful as I think it's going to be, and it seems to be already, we'll have time for next year's events where we have jerseys made up for everybody. We'll have a better idea of how many to make and stuff like that, and how many to have, pre-done to have the official. So it's very clear that, okay, that's this year's Home Break Championships jersey and stuff. So, and Michelle, back to your question, my advice would be during this time frame, yeah, she's wearing that jersey every time she paddles out. So there's no question. She catches an awesome wave. That would suck to be like, oh, that would have been a great wave for the contest. That's
right.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify. That's all.
Yeah,
that
no,
they
of
just
course.
had to have them on the whole time.
Yeah. No, that's all good questions. So, so again, maximum of 8 waves per month. We're going to get into the breakdown of that right now. And then top 2 waves will count towards the series placement. So the series, each series in September is broken down into, each one's broken down in basically a 2-week period. So you'll submit your top 4 waves from the first 2 weeks of September to the middle of that month, so the 15th, however that falls in the month, and we'll pick the top wave out of those 4 that you submit, and then you'll submit your 4 in the second half of the month, and we'll pick the top one out of that, and those 2 will be your combined for your score for that month, for that leg of the series of the contest, and that will be your score for your division. Does that make sense to everybody? And so
the reason we did that is we didn't want people keeping their waves back until the last day of the month and then submitting all their waves at once, because they didn't want anyone else to see their wave scores. That's why we've divided it into every 2 weeks. So at least we can get some excitement and enthusiasm going with the waves and get the score. And also the judges don't get pummeled with a whole lot of waves to judge at the end of the month.
Yeah, and it as best we can, again, we're trying to keep it to be like a real contest. So in a real contest, your waves would be in your heat. You would be getting scored, and like in live heats, people could see exactly where you stand, like your coaches, like I've seen it, at contests where they're putting up singles to let someone know where they're at in the heat, as far as, hey, you're in second, you're in third, you go, and you hear the commentators giving that information during the heats. So this is our way of kind of mimicking that during the heats. It's a month-long heat basically. And so you're going to be able to know where you stand as you compete. Does that make sense to everyone? And feel free to chime in if there's other questions on it, because that's might be a.
I have a question real quick. Going through the listing of the judging criteria, and then if you go down to video submission, and then if you look at
Jake?
Sorry, what? Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Never mind.
Can you hear me? Sorry. So if you go down to video submission, and if you look at the third point on the second sub point of that, it says video entries must be filmed during submission month. It does not have to be a separate session for biweekly submission. That was a little bit confusing. So the wording there kind of confused me and a few other people that were reading it. So does that mean that it has to be filmed within the first 2 weeks of September? Doesn't necessarily matter what session you surf in, but it has to be during those first 2 weeks, and then the next waves have to be in the second portion of the second 2 weeks.
Correct. So you don't. That's correct. So you don't. So in that 2 week period, Jacob, you don't have to say, okay, this is my surf session for this submittal period, and catch those 4 waves in one session. You could catch you know, one of those waves on that first Sunday of that 2-week period. You could catch one on Wednesday, one on Thursday, and one on Friday of the second week. They all count, those 4 waves count towards your submittal for that bi-weekly period.
Gotcha. So, but it has to be in that bi-weekly period.
Yeah,
Correct.
so you could technically, I mean, you know, if you surf once a day, so from September 1st to September 15th, you could have 15 sessions, but you're going to take your best 4 waves from those 15 sessions and submit
Right.
those. So in
I
theory,
understand.
yeah, you're going to, you know, you should be getting your best waves.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also had one more question as far as the video is concerned. Like, there might be some surfers out there that don't have videographers, so they might have to attach a camera onto their board, which can affect perspective. And I know that's probably something that the judges might be looking at is for perspective and skill on the wave, but some surfers may not have the capabilities to have a videographer. They may only have a GoPro attached to the front of their board. So how would that influence judging? And also, is there a specific type of direction or perspective that the judges will be looking for if they were attaching their camera onto their board?
Well, that's a good question. How I've thought about that, I mean, the best possible submissions would obviously be from the beach, looking at, you know, directly at the surfer riding the wave, left, right, however they ride it, and capturing that front on, or from a drone perspective would obviously be the best too, because you can actually see how they're maneuvering on the wave. And I get it. You're going to have, you know, folks, that's all they have is a GoPro mount on their board. And the judges are going to have to make their best, you know, call on, you know, you can kind of tell by the movement of the body how they're working the wave and stuff, but that's going to be a much harder wave to score versus having something set up on the beach. So I mean, that, I'm not saying that would be a bad video, but it would probably not give the best vantage to get the best scoring of your wave. And so if it's possible to get some kind of tripod or something, or ask someone, you know, get a buddy or something to, you know, you know, stand on the water's edge with a GoPro and film you as you're catching your waves. That would be the best way. But I mean, I'll be honest, like for myself too, I don't have a videographer to film me. And so I'm actually going to order myself a little tripod to put my GoPro on and see how it works. But you know, we're going to try to do our best to get the best quality for the judges so that they can give the best possible judging out there.
So I've seen a wave, the same wave filmed from a GoPro and filmed from the shore. And from the GoPro, you definitely don't get the same perspective. It occasionally looks great if the guy's in the barrel or something, but you don't get the full perspective of the wave. So my recommendation would be to try and get it done from the shore. If you have to do it from a GoPro, obviously the best angle is have it facing forward. But the first prize would be from the shore.
Yeah, and if you have it facing forward, you can't see who's riding the wave, so it's.
Yeah.
Dana, can I ask a question? Anthony here.
Please.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's all good.
Some commitments, and I've got to leave early as well. But and if you've covered this, apologies. Can you submit 2 angles of one wave? That's my first question. Second one is, do you have to submit the whole wave? So can a wave, the video start halfway through your wave or end before you fall off? If you do fall off?
I would think you'd have to submit the full wave because that's part of the scoring is your takeoff on the wave. At a regular contest, you'd be scored on, you know, how you get into the wave and then how you finish, all the way through to how you finish the wave. And so I would think you'd have to have the entire wave.
Okay.
You can submit what you've got, but understand you'll lose that first section you'll lose points for takeoff if it's not recorded.
I mean, if I take off and my full wave is as full as I take off, I do a few kind of half check turns, and then I really crack a proper turn, land it. Let's say it's an air or something. Not that I do that, but if I could, and that maneuver, if you're judging according to WSL, could be a 10. So basically, my question is, can you submit one maneuver? as opposed to a full wave.
You'll be judged on what you submit. So if you submit a video with just that big air,
Yeah.
you won't get as much as if you submit a video with 3 top turns and that same big air. So it's always better to submit start to finish. But if you feel that you've got a clip that got cut off for whatever reason and you've just got the big air, you feel that that'll be highest enough scoring wave, then you're welcome to submit it. But we'll be judging what gets submitted.
And then, so if I decide that I've got 4 or 5 good maneuvers on my wave already, and then I'll fall on the 5th, and it wouldn't be in my interest to show the whole video, and I stop it after the 5th maneuver to avoid me from you seeing me fall off.
Well, exactly, and that's why we're saying that you know, if you don't submit how you finish the wave, then we can't judge that, and that's gonna hurt your score. I mean, I think that's the exact. I mean, that's exactly why you need to submit the full wave from start to finish, because that influences how you get scored. Like, you could write a beautiful wave, but if you finish it horribly, I mean, I've had that count against me in contests where I've run a great wave and then I, you know, stupidly just, you know, didn't finish it like I should, and that's, you know, caused my scoring not to be as well, because I'm not showing that I'm mastering the full wave.
So there's no time constraint on the wave. Like the currently one that we're doing, like the virtual one, like that's 20 seconds if you're standing. You're saying like there's no, like it can be a 10-second wave from start to finish. It can be a minute if you're out. Like
you can be in Peru and you can be riding that left for 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So there's no like start to finish. Okay. No problem.
Just, we want at a contest.
So I have another question.
Yeah.
Sorry again if you've covered this already. Can you tow in?
It would. That's a good question.
I would say no.
I would say no as well.
It's ISA rules, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't believe you can tow in, and you'd have to. You know, that would be an unfair advantage in using motorized equipment to get into the wave.
Okay.
Which isn't, and we're trying to follow. I mean, I know there's other organizations and associations that do contests like WSL and stuff like that. We're trying to stick as strictly as we can to the ISA format.
So I think I'd like to say the official answer to that is no. Obviously, if you're in prone assist, you can have someone pushing you into the wave, but tow-in is no.
But that would be no different. Like in a contest a few years ago, a prone assist person was using a motorized board and they got DQ'd because of it. That would be a similar type situation. So I would say no.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So again, first 4 waves, first half of the month, next 4 waves, second half of the month. We are, again, using the ISA rules and regulations will apply as much as possible. If the division's not included, as I said earlier, we've got several divisions that aren't including the ISA. We're going to apply those ISA as best as possible to those if need be. All surfers must surf in the style and manner as dictated by the ISA rules and regulations for his or her division. It is on the surfer to know how to surf in their division, not on us. So if you are in a division, you should know how to surf in that division. And you know, we'll go back to what we just talked about earlier. And I used the kneeling as an example. You know, you must be by the rules on your buttocks or on your knees. So you, like, I could not surf in the kneeling division and stand on my foot and have it count. I think we've discussed that pretty good. If anybody has any questions that we miss, feel free to email Doug or I. Or if you, I mean, I know, like for me, and I am on these things, I'll think of 10 different things, you know, an hour from after we get off of here. Feel free to email us and everything. But our goal is to keep this as fair as possible for everyone involved. So judging will be done by a panel of 3 judges, and we'll have also a judge overseeing that for any head judge that will oversee any questions that come up on just like the example we just gave. We'll be doing the scale of 1 to 10 with 2 decimal places for scoring. So you can score a 2.67 or 9.89 on a wave. The surface 2 highest scoring waves are combined for their overall total. And you can look back at the reference point. I actually think I wrote wrong on there, but I'll fix that. But we just covered that. And then points will be awarded for each series placing, and then those points will be added together for overall champion ships to decide who are the division champions in the first, second, and third for the entire event. Criteria will be commitment and degree of difficulty, innovative and progressive maneuvers, the variety of maneuvers, the combination of major maneuvers, speed, power, flow. The wave scores will be awarded on the extent of a surfer's best ride. He or she catches a surfer may score higher or poorer. A wave, the shred, is not whether it's a good quality wave or not. It's more on what the surfer's doing on the wave than whether it's a 3-foot wave or a double overhead wave. Sorry, this box is blocking half of my view here. Your video submissions, the video quality, so any camera quality is allowed. It could be your old VHS camcorder, your iPhone, Surfline. But again, remember, it has to be clear quality for proper judgment. You have to be able to see what you're doing on the wave and who's doing it on the wave. I think that should be kind of self-explanatory, but so do the best you can on that and stuff. The waiver rights, so by entering the contest and everything, you're giving AmpSurf the right to use these videos and everything however we feel for discretion, i.e., if this is successful, next year we want to use this to promote an event again and stuff like, for instance, every day I've been putting out posters with different athletes from the World Championships to promote the event, and on the posters and stuff to just keep that constantly changing and hopefully making it exciting to see what's coming next. And so it'd be the same type of thing. Hopefully we'll have a lot of great footage that we can pull clips from and show videos out there to everyone to see. Each month you should upload no more than 8 video clips. And here's the criteria. We've kind of talked about this already, but 1 wave per video submission. And so like you're asking Ant earlier, if we can have 2 different angles of it. We just want 1 video of that wave submission. If you can make that so it's side by side or something in that video, I guess that would work, as long as we can tell when it was filmed and all that good stuff. They must be filmed in the submission month, and it doesn't have to be separated by session, as we just talked about for the biweekly. So again, so during that September, as the example, you can go out and surf 8 different sessions and get those best 4 waves from those sessions and submit those for that time period. It doesn't have to all be filmed in one heat and stuff. And then organizers will add the scores of those best waves.
Dana, it can be filmed in. So just say for Jacob, if he only gets in that 2-week period, there's only swell for 1 day, he can submit 2 videos from that same day.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm just he's not restricted to that. One,
video, whatever.
Yeah. And then again, we'll add the best waves from the first 2 weeks of that session and the best wave from the second 2 weeks to get that combined score for that portion of the series. So prizes. So money is awarded to championship finishers who complete all 3 series in each division, female and male. So basically, half your entry fee is going towards the prize pool. The other half is going towards covering the costs of all the jerseys, the shipping, just all the stuff we're doing to make this happen and everything. So everyone's fully aware of that. The cash prize will cap for each division at $1,000. So for instance, I'll use my division as the example. So PS2, if we've got 10 entries, the first place finisher would get $1,000 cash prize. The next 2 down would get other prizes for winning. If we had 15 entries, then second place would get a $500 cash prize. Third place, if we had 18 entries, we get $300, and it caps off at 18 entries. I'm guessing, I haven't seen an adaptive contest yet, we've had more than 18 entries in a division. So I think that was a decision was made to make that the cap. The most I've ever seen is 16, and we can reassess that if we get, maybe we get 25 in a division, but it's by division. So when you sign up for your division, the more, don't discourage your friends from signing up for that division. You want as many people as possible in your division to raise that cash prize level and everything. Go ahead.
Doug, is there any way you can give us an update periodically as to how many people have entered or who has entered the contest, so we know who we're up against and what we're looking at?
Yeah. So just so I did it earlier. So right now we've got 35 entries. I don't know the break. I'll be honest. I don't know the breakdown by division right now. But yes, as we get going here, we're gonna start posting. This is who's in the event and stuff like that. And then we'll just be posting that probably on our AmpSurf Facebook page. So I'd encourage everyone to start following that page so you can see those. We've been putting up over the last few days bios on different athletes that are in the contest, so you can see who's entering right now. We're not putting everyone up every day. Doug's been putting them out 3 a day. Who's signing up for the event? So we'll have that information all up on our Facebook page for AmpSurf. So I would suggest start following that, because that's more than likely where we'll be posting most all that information.
And if everyone could please send me a photograph and a short bio. I can Google each individual, but then I don't want to mess up on something. So it'd be far more convenient if everyone just send me a photograph and a bio, and then I like Dana's saying, I'm doing 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah.
And preferably a personal photograph, like a face shot, or like Peg Leg sent a picture of himself and his daughter. That kind of stuff for this particular application, those kind of photographs are the best.
Yeah.
It just makes it more personal.
Yeah, we want to show what you want to show for your bio. So we can scrape what we want, obviously off the internet, whatever, but we'd rather have what you want up there. And so I think it's cool that he highlighted the fact that he's, got his daughter and stuff. So very cool. Yeah. So then, every month we'll have, we'll announce who the first and third place finishers are for each division and stuff, and they'll be awarded trophies and medals of some sort, for those. And then we'll also do trophies and medals after for the overall thing of who, all the judges agree who was the best overall wave, the best wipeout, most stoke, most improved, largest drop, best style, that type of thing, and stuff. And one of the ideas of that is because, this is a pro-am, so we've got people that are signing up. This is their first ever contest. Someone just signed up yesterday. It's their first ever contest. We want to award, and recognize that as best we can. So maybe that person, I don't know, but maybe they just started surfing yesterday, and then by the end of this contest, they're just, doing these great maneuvers. Well, that's the most improved of the series, yeah, hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And then if you want to enter just the individual series, that's fine. Everyone can do that. We've got some folks that are already doing that. And so that's $75 per series. And then if you want to enter all 3 at once, you save $25 and do the whole series. And hopefully, the ones that are just doing one leg of it, sign up and do the rest of them. I guess, it may be tough, wherever to do all 3 at once, but just make sure you do enter. Dries, you have a question?
Yeah, I want to know, okay, so there's 3 divisions, 8 waves per division. Does that mean each of those 8 waves that you submit must be of the same wave?
I'm sorry?
I think the 8 videos that you submit, must each of those 8 videos all be of the same wave, the same spot, the same location, the same break?
No. So it's, like we talked about this earlier. So if it's your home break, today might be J Bay, but then someone gives you a ticket to go to Indo for a week, your next wave might be filmed in Indo.
Yeah, you touched on it. I wasn't sure. I just wanted
Yeah,
to make sure
no.
because you mentioned like it doesn't have to be where you live, but I wasn't sure if all 8 of the waves or the videos you must submit must be at
No.
the same spot.
No, so again,
But
you
it's
know,
good.
it might be like Jacob, Doug used earlier as an example. Maybe he only gets one day. He's got good waves in his home break, but you know, the next week he knows it's firing up north. Dude, drive north, Jake. You know, and catch a wave up there by all means. You know, we're gonna the waves, and the judges are gonna judge it on how you manipulate the wave, whether it's in your backyard or 3,000 miles away. It's fine. Yeah.
And it doesn't
No, that's
have
good.
to be 8 waves, four every 2 weeks. The maximum of 4 waves every 2 weeks. So, if you only manage to get 2 reasonably scoring waves, only submit those. Don't worry about the other 2. So just submit the good waves, the waves that you think will count towards scoring.
Yeah, and most people that
Maximum.
most of you guys that have, and men and women that have done this at other events, whether a wave is going to be a 1.2 or a 3.0 or 7. Don't submit the stuff if it's not going to ever even be close. Don't waste your time, I guess. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And then challenges must be submitted to us. They must, have. Gosh darn, I can't see this whole thing. Sorry. Challenge in the subject line, we want to have the division, the athlete, and the series number. So if it's in September, we want, and it's Ant, we want, and I can't remember what division you're in, but PS2, Anthony series, September, or series 1, and brought to us within 72 hours of that scoring and stuff. And all of them will be reviewed within 72 hours. And no challenge will be accepted within 7 days of the series completion. We put that there because what we don't want to have, we're trying to avoid, and is having a bunch of challenges right at the end of the contest. And again, that's another reason why we set it up where you can't submit all your waves the last day of the contest series, because it's just too hard to deal with that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone, and that's within the bounds of what everyone can work with. Is that any questions on that? Because I know this could be a potentially hot subject. Okay, outstanding. So that's pretty much everything we've got for it. Hopefully we've answered some of those concerns and questions that have come up. I think the biggest questions have been, when things can be submitted and stuff like that, and how many per division and all that stuff, and where. Hopefully that's clear now, and hopefully this all makes sense. I just super appreciate everybody willing and wanting to be a part of this with us and try out this new format and see how it works. This could be this COVID thing could be a blessing in disguise as far as good goes. This could be a really new, cool way to do things, and add that to the list of our other contests. And hopefully we're all back in the water together as our community for other events. But I think this is a great way for us to share the stoke and share the waves with each other as much as we can. Anybody have any other questions or anything? I'm going to stop the share so I can see everybody.
Dane, if I could just chip in with 2 things.
Please.
So for everyone, you should have all received an email giving you a link to the website, to the Clapero website. So what I suggest you do is go to their homepage and have a look at some of the other contests that are running, some of the video submissions that have been put in. And that gives you a good idea of how this contest will run. And then the other thing which I'm on the fence with is whether we have the scoring of the waves live so everyone can see them, or whether we keep those scores hidden until we announce the winners. So I'd be interested to see what everyone's feelings are, whether they prefer that I kept them hidden up until we award up until the end of each series, or if we share those scores with everyone. I think from a development point of view, it's nice to know what the judges were scoring your ride, and hopefully it pushes everyone else to ride a bit harder.
Well, I'll chime in on that as a competitor, and as you know, I was under the impression that we were going to show them live as we go, just like you would at any other contest nowadays. You would know where you're scoring, your team would know where you're scoring, as those scores are being announced by the judges. You know, like at the WSA events, we still have to wait till the end and everything, and I can't stand that. I'd much rather know where I'm at and where I scored against my fellow competitors and stuff. I mean, you kind of know anyway when you're at a live contest. You know darn well how you did in the heat against somebody, you know, or how you didn't do and stuff. So I think the more that we share, the better. And again, I think honestly, you know, organization-wise of the event, we have to, because of especially with this event, because of any challenges and stuff like that. Someone's going to want to know if they need to feel like they need a large challenge or something. They're not going to know if they don't know the score of a wave. That would definitely factor into me.
I agree with you, Doug. I think it's a no-brainer that the score should be live.
Cool. Okay, that's no problem.
I've got a question, Doug. And sorry if you've covered this already. Are we going to be able to see competitors' waves throughout the event, or will you only show and tell them at the end?
No, everybody. So as you submit, and Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, on Clipero, you'll be able to. So if Martin submits a wave, it'll be viewable almost immediately. It may not have been judged yet. It may not have a score assigned to it, but his wave will be up there almost instantaneously after he submits it for other people to see.
Great. Awesome.
Correct. And then when the judges score, they can also put comments. So you'll see a score, and if the judge feels like it, he can put a comment as to why he gave a high or low score. So that part is also quite nice from an individual's development. You know, they can see what the judges are looking for and why they got it high on a particular wave versus another wave. So it'll be good that everyone have visibility into that entire process.
I think that's a positive over a normal contest, I think, to me, because that's something that always bugs me, trying to figure out why a certain score was given. And that's
So I think we'll stress that to the judges that they must put a comment on every wave that they score for the individual, so you can see
as best they can.
As best they can.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to understand too. You know, you got 3 judges judging 30 divisions. You know, X amount of entries. So, you know, that's going to be a lot of stuff. So please just don't, you know, if you've got a question, by all means, shoot us a note on it, but they may, I mean, I don't want to strictly hold them to, they got to comment on every single, that just gets into the weeds too much, I think. And I wouldn't want to be second, as a judge, I wouldn't want to be second guessed quite that hard, you know, and feel anyway, so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is my very first competition ever.
Oh, yay, outstanding. There we go.
But I've never done a competition, and I decided to do one, and I'm in the Wounded Warriors division. Yeah. So my question is, I was looking at the parasurfing rules and regulations, and I'm not sure which one to go. I don't really know what to go off. Especially for the Wounded Warriors division.
Yeah, so on that, so the Wounded Warrior division is a, for lack of, I don't know, specialty division, whatever you want to call it. So that that's going to be, just so you know, that's going to be like a Wild West type division. So you're going to be competing. I know, like I can compete in that division as well. You know, I'm missing a leg, so mine is going to be different than yours, and Martin's missing 3 limbs, and you know, someone else might be paralyzed in that division. So it's kind of all across the board. The judges will judge those waves on how you master, you know, your mastery of the wave, the maneuvers you make, your entry, your exit, all of that as a division. Now that, you know, because it's too hard to compare the way you ride as far as, you know, your style to how Martin rides his or someone in a wave ski. So they just judge it on how that competitor rides that wave. And so for that particular division, there is no ISA equivalent because it's a very mixed bag division. Does that make sense?
Just go out there and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
Hey, that's something that I've had to remind myself many, many times at contests is don't forget, just have fun. When you have fun, you will ride your best waves regardless. But when you're stressing on how, you know, oh my gosh, Martin, I just saw Martin's wave and I got to do this and that to beat Martin. To heck, no offense, Martin, but heck with Martin. Just ride your best wave and you'll do fine. You know, that's
Cool.
the key.
On that category, is that one going to be mixed men and women, or are we separate in that as well? Or?
It'll be separate in that as well. So you guys actually, you two wouldn't be competing against each other in that. It'll be separated. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be.
There's no reason why you can't try and beat Martin's score anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you should.
See one of the ladies kicking
I mean,
butt.
first time beginner surfer, you should be able to walk all over him. I mean, he's, you know, he's English, so. Oh, sorry, Martin. Did I say that out loud?
And I'm like pretty short as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
He's good. So don't worry. But no, I mean, just surf your best waves, obviously, you know, and you'll do fine. And I'm stoked that we've got a couple people so far that have signed up first time competitors and stuff like that. And I think that's awesome. So outstanding. Anybody, anything else on anyone? Has everybody enjoyed the posters and stuff? And has anybody seen the bios we've been putting up and stuff like that? Good, bad, ugly?
I love the bios, Dana.
Oh, cool, Dreads. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good, guys. Well played. Keep them coming.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep them coming as much as possible. And please, everyone, you are our best ambassadors and promoters for this event. You're already in it. You obviously want to be a part of it. You know, help us get more people signed up. We want to try to, you know, I'd love to see us, you know, hit 100 competitors. You know, that, you know, if you broke that out over all the divisions, that's only 3 or 4 people per division. Obviously, we'd get more people in certain divisions and stuff, but it would be awesome to see that. And again, any of you that are outside of the U.S., you know, if you've had anyone you've talked to that's slightly interested, try to get them to sign up as soon as possible so we can get them that jersey ASAP. We want to make sure everybody's got what they need and stuff, and without delay. And then just go ahead.
I have to go, Dana. Thanks very much. Thanks,
thank
Doug.
you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Did you send me Dreesen's and JP's as well, or is that?
I put a whole lot in the package. I think I've shipped 8 vests to you. There's one for Tracy. There's a couple. There's quite a few there. The vests are different colors, so there's a blue, there's a black, there's a baby blue. It doesn't matter the color. I have shipped according to the shirt sizes that everyone gave me, and then the extra vests I've shipped large and extra large because those are the most universal sizes.
Okay, Doug, did you use post or was it courier?
I've used UPS for everything, and
Awesome.
they were saying 2 to 5 day delivery. I've got the tracking numbers, which I'll send to each individual that I sent the vests to, and in between you and I, we can just track them, and then I'll send you the address where the vests have to be forwarded on to.
Okay.
And on that note, any of you that we're doing that with, send us the costs. Let us know, you know, send us a receipt for the costs you incur to, like, say you're going to ship JPs to him. You know, let us know. Don't please. We don't want you to eat that cost. We'll take care of it and stuff.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Very well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have extra T-shirts like on sale online? Like if I wanted to buy a couple T-shirts?
We don't right now, but we will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get the shirts in. I think we're getting a shipment tomorrow, and then the rest on Monday. And then anyone that's has signed up from the U.S., we'll get those out with your jerseys. We'll have enough time to get those to you guys. Anyone overseas, we're going to ship those T-shirts separately. Unless you sign up, like Martin, you signed up today, we'll probably ship those together if we got the size in tomorrow. for you. But yeah, we're gonna hopefully have those up online to sell as well. Yeah,
because that's a good fundraiser too. And I know I'd like to buy some for some of my family and friends.
well, I would expect no less. I mean, at least
10.
Not
competing, just to have.
Yeah, no, you should buy. I highly suggest you buy 10 shirts for all your friends and family. So, okay, if we're all good, anyone else, any questions, comments, critiques? Thank you again all for being here, and please help us spread the word, and hopefully we have a great event. And then Dred's in the comments has said that if anyone's in the New England area, he can do footage for you. He's volunteered himself to travel wherever you need to be to get. And I'll tell you, I know for a fact Dred's is great at doing surf videos. So if you happen to be in New England, and Dred's, please keep posting that as well when we do the post to let people know. That'd be greatly appreciated. So. Actually, one last thing I don't know, I haven't gotten a response back yet, but they've already said they're willing to help at some level. If you haven't heard of Solo Shot, it's a system where you set it up on the beach and you wear a thing on your arm, and it's probably one of the best options out there for surf video footage. You just press that button, and that camera robot tracks you everywhere you go, all your waves. Now that system costs about $1,000 a pop, which I know is a lot. I'm negotiating with them right now to get them to take at least 20% off for any of the competitors. They're willing already to do a 10% off, and then give AmpSurf $100 off. So basically, that system costs about $1,000 out the door. They're willing to do $100 off and give AmpSurf a $100 rebate if we wanted to buy a bunch of them. And so I just asked them I would rather see them give all that to the athletes. So just give $200 off or 20% off to the athletes. I don't need a rebate to buy a bunch of cameras. So hopefully that happens. I know, I mean, I would love to have them say, yeah, we'll give all your competitors a camera, but that's not reality, especially during COVID-19. Everyone's trying to make what they can. So anyway, hopefully I can make an announcement on that in the next couple of days, but that is a great option to use if you can afford that stuff. If not, get your significant other, your friend, your worst enemy, whoever will go out there and film you, get them to film you and stuff. All right. If everyone's good to go, I'm good to go. Peace, love, and happiness. And I can't wait to start seeing these video submissions. Thank you all so very much. Thank you, Dr. Mo. And we'll let you guys go. Lose December 5.
Thanks, Dana.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fabulous and exciting. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to all
Thank
of you for believing in it. So thanks so much. All right. I'm going to.
Right on, Dana.
Later.
All right.
Have a good
Peace.
day.
Yeah, you guys too.